Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I'm your host here on the website that teaches you how to play banjo, guitar, and mandolin. I love being able to grab my sisters to come in and teach whenever they can. Katie's a really good swing guitarist, so we're going to introduce some basic swing chord shapes to you today. We taught one around Christmas. This time we're going to answer some of the questions that I got from my Gold Pick members. We're going to learn 2 6th chord shapes. If you don't know what that means, it's okay. We're going to teach you. 2 7th chord shapes, a minor shape, and a diminished shape. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then we're going to apply that to an old swing standard and teach you how to do it to your songs as well. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, here in a moment, I'll ask you to come over to the website, BanjoBenClark.com. You can join as a Gold Pick member, have access to this full lesson as well as hundreds of others. That includes tabs and rhythm MP3s, so I'd be honored to have you on board. Let's dive into that first guitar swing chord position.
All right.
Since I'm your older brother, let me tell you what we're going to do.
Yes,
okay?
Sir.
We're going to first learn these 2 6 chords in the first video segment. Then we'll go into the 7th chords, diminished and minor. But we have 2 main 6th chord positions, right, in swing guitar,
Right.
and they're both really useful. When would you use a 6th chord? Before we talk about what it is, when would you use it in swing?
Well, I use it all the time in swing guitar music. You're adding a 6th note to your chord, and you use it. Say you're in the key of D, you can play a D6 chord.
Okay. Instead of a regular D.
Right. Whenever you're going to your G chord, you can play a G6 chord.
Oh, okay. So you can pretty much substitute it in about any time, and it'll sound pretty good.
It wouldn't necessarily make your 5 chord, which would be...
Okay, we'll talk more about that later when
Make
when
it a
not
7
used.
chord.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just play the difference between a regular D chord and what a D6 chord sounds like. So there's regular D, D6. Okay, they don't look anything alike, but they do kind of sound alike. What's different about, or what makes a D6 chord a D6 chord is that it has the 6th tone of the D scale added into it. So even if you don't know much about theory, you can still learn to play these, but for those of you who are familiar with your major scale, you just count up a D major scale. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. So B is the 6th tone of the D major scale. So we add a B note into our chord. And you get that B note right there. So let's just talk about what fingers are down here. First of all, this chord we're going to use, or we're going to play through the first 5 strings of our guitar. We're not playing the low E string, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're going to start there with our pinky on the 5th fret of the A string. And that's an actual D note, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's the root of our chord, and that's important to know. The next string, the D string, we're going to play the 4th fret with our middle finger. On the next string, the 3rd string, which is the G string, we're playing the 3rd fret or 4th fret with our ring finger. And then on the 2nd string, the B string, we're going to play the 3rd fret with our index finger. Then what about this high E string, that 1st string there?
You're going to mute that.
You're going to mute it. Okay, so you just find a way to let your finger...
I think mine hits about right here on this fatty
Oh, your
part
finger?
of my
Your finger?
finger.
Your finger. Your pinky does it? Okay, good deal. But whenever you play through, then you're going to play through the first 5 strings of the guitar. Try to miss that low
Try to
E
miss
string.
it, but
I noticed that you mute it with your
I
thumb.
do. And naturally, I think just because I don't want it to sound, and so I naturally kind of mute it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I try not to hit that string.
So what's great about this chord is once you learn this, it's not a tough chord to play. But once you learn it, you automatically know 12 chords, right? Because you can move this. It's a closed chord. What do I mean by closed chords?
Well, all the notes that I'm playing are being fretted.
Right, so there's no open strings that you're playing, which means what?
Well, you can move it anywhere.
You can move it anywhere, that's right. So the chord that we make in this position is determined by which bass note we're playing. So here we're playing a D6 because your pinky is playing a D note. Okay, so let's just say that we needed to play a C6 chord. What would we do?
We would down to where the C is.
Yeah, you would make sure that your pinky is on a C note, which is the 3rd fret of the A string, and now you've got a C6 chord. What if you wanted an F6 chord? What did you do?
I found my F.
Found an F note with your pinky. That's right. Found an F note with your pinky, and that makes an F6 chord. All right, cool. That's a fun and easy chord to play. What's our next 6 chord position? Now, what's all that hocus pocus there?
Well, here's my 6th tone. It's done with your pinky here.
Yeah, I don't even know what chord it is.
This is a G6.
Oh, this is a G6 chord.
My the bass note of your chord, your root, is found here on the 6th string.
Okay, that your middle finger is on. Okay, good deal. So we have a 3rd fret down here for a G6 with our middle finger. Then what's happening with this A string? This is another closed chord, so we're not wanting to let any open strings ring through. What are you doing there?
Muting it.
With this bottom part of your middle finger. Then you've got your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. Your pinky's reaching up and grabbing the 4th fret of the G string. And then your ring finger's doing the 3rd fret of the B string. All right, so your 6th tone, which in key of G is an E note, it's being played right here with your index finger. Good deal. And then you mute this high E string there. Okay, so you can play all the way through all 6 strings. If you have them muted correctly, then you won't hear those 2 open strings, the A and the E. You'll just hear the ones that you play there. Okay, so automatically we know 12 more chords, right? Because you could, if you know your G6 now, where's your A6? Okay, so we found an A note with our middle finger on the 5th fret, and then that would make that an A6 chord. Or if you wanted an B flat 6. There it is, just one more note up. Okay, cool. So those are our 2, I guess, most common 6 chord shapes that you're going to use in swing guitar. Let's now, in this next video segment, talk about our 7th chords and when we're going to use them. And then we'll talk about the diminished and minor, and then we'll apply it to a song and talk about how to do that with other songs.